I was nervous. Karen, my wife of 11 years, had asked me to meet her at the Tumbleweed Inn bar at 3 p.m. I knew the bar would be almost empty at that time, and I doubted she had invited me there to have a drink together. I didn't know how right I was. We had met at this bar 13 years ago. I felt a sense of foreboding in my chest. I suspected she was having an affair with someone at work. This meeting seemed like the moment I would hear confirmation. There were signs: late nights at the office where she worked as her boss's secretary, a clear lack of interest in sex with me, new provocative clothes she never wore at home, and a general indifference to communicating with me. Lately we hardly spoke, even at meals, which she rarely joined. For several months, it was mostly me and the kids eating together, and she would come home late with some excuse and maybe a dessert from the store for Max, 9, and Megan, 10. Her neglect of me hurt me deeply, but her neglect of our children angered me even more. When I pulled into the parking lot, there were only a few cars there. I told myself I had to stay calm, no matter what she said. 2 nights earlier, I had overheard part of a phone conversation. "Yes, okay, I agree. Tuesday. Yes, I'll bring him." Well, it was Tuesday, it was 3 o'clock, and I was here. I sat in the car for a minute, believing she was with him. What should I do? Then I remembered what my father had taught me many years ago, a piece of wisdom that had served me well in business. Never act until you are sure of what you are doing. Be quiet and let the other side reveal itself. The less you say, the more nervous they get. And if they're not nervous, then at least they're revealing themselves, giving you time to think things through. Words betray your thoughts, even if you don't want them to. Keep quiet, step back, and then act with all the information and a clear plan. I smiled slightly, feeling grateful to my father for his advice. It felt as if he were standing next to me. Finally, I went inside. Karen was sitting at the bar with a man I didn't know. This didn't surprise me too much. My company, Steinbeck Incorporated, employed me as an electrical engineer designing wiring systems for construction companies, so I never met her colleagues. She turned to me when I approached. "Hi, Mark," she said. Not "Hi, honey." No kiss. Just "Hi, Mark." I replied, "How's it going?" My voice was calm, but sharp. The man turned to me. "Mr. Steinbeck, or do you prefer Mark? Anyway, we brought you here today because your wife and I have been sleeping together for some time. She's tired of hiding, so I convinced her to tell you." I was partly prepared for this. The tape recorder in my jacket pocket was running. I said nothing and waited. "Mark?" Karen said, looking at me. When I didn't answer, she continued, probably thinking I was in shock. "It's been so hard to keep this from you," she said. "I don't want to hurt you. I'm not leaving you, but the sex with Jason is just too good to give up. I hope you understand. You deserve to know." I listened silently, realizing how pathetic her logic sounded. Karen hadn't finished college, but I hadn't thought of her as stupid until now. As for the guy she was leaving me for, well, I'd already made up my mind about him. I walked over to the bartender, who was clearly trying not to listen but couldn't help overhearing. I ordered a beer, drank it in silence, and felt their confused glances on me the whole time. When I was done, I left without saying a word. For the first time in months, I felt strong again. Maybe it was just in my head, but I felt like I had regained control. I drove straight home. The kids must have been waiting. When I got there, I kissed them and cheerfully told them they were going to have a great weekend. They were thrilled. I told them my plan. They would be staying with Aunt Susan and Uncle Duck for the weekend. They adored my sister and her husband. Sue and Duck, who didn't have children, treated Max and Megan like their own. I knew Sue and Duck were going camping for the weekend, so now the kids would go with them and I would have time to do what I needed to do. "Everything okay, Mark?" Duck asked. He always seemed to know when something was wrong. "No," I replied honestly. "I'm getting divorced from Karen. The kids don't know yet." I had a feeling, he replied. That surprised me. What? I noticed something, he said. So did Sue. Last Christmas, Karen even tried to flirt with me. I waved it off, and she tried to laugh it off, but I could see she didn't believe it herself. Sue made me promise not to tell you. I'm sorry. I didn't know. It's okay, I said. I'm just glad you two came to watch the kids for a few days. I need to sort things out. Mark, if you need anything... Thanks, Detective. I appreciate it. I believe I'll sort things out, but I won't forget your help. It'll be unpleasant, but I have evidence. And since there's no-fault liability in this state, it shouldn't be too difficult to deal with them. After I leave here, I'll go to Henry's to get things moving. Henry Morgan was a longtime lawyer for the company, jokingly said to be nearly 120 years old. But his mind was still sharp as a scalpel. He knew every judge and every lawyer worth their salt in this state and city. Karen must have known what I was capable of if she found out she was cheating on me. I decided she must have decided to confess to get ahead of me and soften the blow if I happened to stumble upon them. It was flawed logic on her part, but the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like the only reasonable explanation. She was afraid I would find out and crush her. And that was exactly what I was going to do. When I showed up at Henry's place unexpectedly, he didn't look surprised. I handed him the recording and the name of the bartender who had witnessed the whole pathetic scene between my wife and her lover earlier that day. Okay, Henry said. I'll deliver it to both of them on Monday morning. Are you going home? Yes, I said. I don't want to warn her yet. As soon as you tell me they got it, she'll leave. Malcolm will get the bartender's statement tomorrow, even if it's Sunday. In this game, speed is everything. Hit fast, hit hard, leave them in the dust. That's my motto. I liked the way the old man operated. And Mark, he added, softening a little. I'm sorry about your marriage, especially Max and Megan. If you ever need anything... Thanks, Henry. I appreciate it. I walked away from him feeling more confident than I had in weeks. I had a friend, a former ranger, and a lawyer who was tough as nails working for me. Now all I had to do was wait for the storm to hit. Henry promised he would fight for everything. I wasn't going to let Karen walk away with nothing. With any other lawyer, I probably would have had to split everything down the middle. But Henry said that the recording alone would give him the upper hand to bury her in court. If he said so, I believed him. That was enough for me. However, when I got home, my stomach sank. There was an unfamiliar car in the driveway. It must be Jason's. It was getting dark, and I wondered if I could catch them in the act again. I crept around the block, trying not to be seen. Then I saw Rex, my neighbor, taking out the trash. Rex was a cop. Perfect. I parked next to the mysterious car and caught Rex's eye. He waved at me and I nodded back. Great. Another witness who saw Jason's car at my house. I wrote down the license plate number, Rex's name, and his address. Maybe I'd even take a few pictures. I walked around the back of the house pretending to take out the trash. Rex went inside, and I crept closer and peeked through the sliding door. There they were, in the living room with the lights off, like animals. I took out my phone and snapped a few pictures of them sitting on the couch, him behind her kneeling as if nothing was happening. After taking 10 photos, I put my phone back in my pocket, opened the door, and made enough noise to get their attention. They turned around, saw me, and continued what they were doing. The nerve. I just went upstairs. Unbelievable. I stood there for about 15 minutes, then heard the front door open and close, and that jerk's car roared away. I waited another minute, then went down to the kitchen. As I passed by, I heard the shower running in the bathroom downstairs. I poured myself some coffee and sat down to wait. 10 minutes later, she came out and joined me. "Are you okay?" she asked, pretending to be concerned. I just sipped my coffee and waited for her to say something sincere. She didn't ask about the kids once. This wasn't the woman I had married many years ago. "Mark, we need to talk." My sister has the kids. I thought you'd like to know. Oh, yeah, I noticed when I got home. She looked shaken. Listen, are you okay? I just wanted to be honest with you. I hate keeping things from you. You're a good man. You deserve better. It's just sex, Mark. Just sex. I would never turn you down. Jason knows about it. He's fine with it. It was his idea to be open about it. I couldn't help myself. So I can sleep with my wife, and Jason's fine with that? How generous. Don't be sarcastic, Mark. Honesty is the best policy, you know. She actually said that, as if cheating was an honest thing to do. I almost laughed. Mark, say something, she snapped. What do you want me to say? If I tell you to call him and tell him it's over, will you call him? She hesitated. That was my answer. Then yes, you're right. I deserve better. Outwardly, I was calm, but inside I was laughing. I'm leaving. Don't wait for me. I couldn't stand to be around her anymore. To me, she was already dead. On Monday, it would all be over for good. I found myself back at the same bar where it all began. The bartender who had served me before was still there. I settled down at the end of the bar. This time the place was packed. What's going on? I asked, nodding toward the crowd. Ladies' night. The wolves are out hunting, he replied, pointing to the corner. There was Jason, hugging some other woman. Typical. A cheater cheating on another cheater. I wasn't even surprised. Maybe Karen knew, maybe she didn't. It didn't matter now. Do you need a witness? The bartender asked. I've been through this myself. It's a shame I didn't have anyone on my side. Maybe then I wouldn't have had to give up my salary for alimony. Maybe I'll go, I said. We talked for hours. I liked the guy. He seemed decent. I decided to ask Henry if we could help him out if he helped bury Jason and Karen. Wolves deserve each other. Jason didn't even notice me. I took a lot of pictures of him and his new toy, proof for Karen, if she really believed she was the only one for him. That could wait until Monday. Josh, the bartender, and I drank coffee until closing time. He lived upstairs and didn't mind the company. He was a damn good bartender, a nice guy to talk to. When I got home, it was already after 4 in the morning. I wanted to sleep in my own bed. The guest room wasn't part of my plans. Maybe Karen knew that too. I slipped in next to her, felt her hand reach for me. I pushed it away and turned the other way. She did the same. In the morning, the sun woke me up. The smell of bacon wafted from the kitchen. I took a shower, got dressed, and went downstairs. She was cheerful, as if nothing had happened. Maybe she believed that everything was fine between us. Maybe she believed that our marriage wasn't falling apart yet. Good morning, sleepyhead, she said. Good morning, I replied. The food really did smell good. I was hungry. Today might be the last day of this charade, but I wasn't going to sulk. Tomorrow it would all come crashing down. I'll be home all day, just for you, she said in a sweet voice, as if it were something special. And if you behave yourself, you might get lucky. She even giggled, as if she believed I wanted her. I almost laughed or threw up, I don't know which. Sure, I giggled back. I have to take the car in to get the brakes fixed, I said, telling the truth for the first time. Oh, well, maybe later then. She looked disappointed. I had to figure out how to keep my distance for the rest of the day. If I had to pretend to confuse her, I would. Before leaving for the store, I hid a small voice recorder near the kitchen phone, figuring that was where she would call Jason. I was right. God, how could she be so predictable? I liked the excitement. 3 hours later, I returned home. While she was taking out the trash, I slipped inside, grabbed the hidden recorder, and locked myself in my office to hear what secrets it might reveal. Her confession of love for him hit me harder than I expected. It was cruel, especially because I knew he was completely indifferent to her. He was just using her. I couldn't wait to show her the time-stamped photos I had taken the night before when he was with his mistress. It would shut her smug mouth. "Hi, it's me. Yeah, he's outside working on the car. Jason, he might not want to. Yeah, I'll try. He loves me. Maybe he'll change his mind. Okay, I understand. I just don't want to lose him. Maybe we went too far by throwing it in his face. I know. Okay. I love you too." I sank into the chair, stunned. I'm married? What? Someone so stupid? It was pathetic. Part of me wondered if it was fair to divorce her. Could you really blame someone so clueless? But the betrayal was too painful. Their blatant disrespect killed any chance of repairing the relationship. And the worst part? She clearly didn't care about our children. That was unforgivable. When she woke up the next morning, I was gone. It was Monday, and it was the end for her and her Romeo. First, I stopped by the office to tell my secretary, Alate, that I wouldn't be in all day. One of the perks of being the boss. Next stop, Henry's office. My lawyer had news. Malcolm, his part-time private investigator, had dug up some interesting information. It turned out that Romeo was married, had 6 children, and was living off his wife's money. She was older than him, rich, and apparently had no idea about his affairs. I told Henry to destroy him and handed him the new recordings and photos. Henry grinned. I also hinted that I had another job for him when everything settled down. I knew Sue and Duck would make sure the children got into school. I was scared at the thought of having to explain everything to them later, but it couldn't be avoided. Henry arranged for my wife and her lover to be served with restraining orders at work. Neither of them was allowed to come near my house. I asked Henry to make this information public, loudly enough to make them feel humiliated. He also agreed to pass all the dirt on to Jason's wife. What she did with it was her business, but I hoped she would bury him. I decided to see how it would play out. I was standing in the hallway when the bailiff arrived. He didn't know me, so he walked past me and into my wife's boss's office. "Excuse me, are you Mrs. Karen Steinbeck?" he asked. "Yes, that's me," she replied, smiling. I watched from the doorway, remaining unnoticed. He handed her a large envelope. "This is for you," he said expressionlessly. She froze, the smile disappearing from her face. She leafed through the papers, her eyes filling with tears, and she sank into a chair, sobbing. Her boss came over, trying to comfort her. I stepped forward so she could see me. Her eyes widened. "Mark, why?" she croaked. "I'm sorry, Dad. Like you said, I deserve better," I said, turned and walked away. Later, I found out that Jason had fainted when he was handed the papers. He passed out when he realized how badly he had screwed up. He lost everything. His wife, his children, his home, his job. I underestimated one thing. Karen wasn't the dumbest woman on earth. She was just second on that list. A few days later, I was sitting in Henry's office drinking coffee. "Do you think you can help her husband? Even after all these years?" "Yes." Henry grinned. "She has a lot of skeletons in her closet. She'll give in if he threatens to take them to court. He can give up alimony." "Mark, don't you get it yet? I can do anything." I laughed with him. He was right. That evening, I found myself at the Tumbleweed Bar and struck up a conversation with a guy who became my friend. "Man," he said, "if what you're telling me is true, you'll never have to pay for a drink in this bar again. She humiliated me so badly back then. Thank you for that." "Glad I could help," I replied. Karen was left with nothing but the clothes she had gathered. Miraculously, she kept her job. Her boss forgave her affair just this once. Jason, on the other hand, was devastated. The day after all that, I saw Karen for the last time. I needed to give her something in person. I knew she would beg, but it was worth it. "Mark, can't we work this out? For the kids?" she tried. Of course, she played the children. I cut her off. "You haven't cared about the children in months. All your attention has been on Jason. Mark, he's a good man, just like you. That's why I fell in love with him. He loves me. We did this for you. I almost laughed. She really blamed me. Then she crossed the line. It's not too late, Mark. Jason will understand your needs. You're number one to me and you always will be. He's just not part of our circle. I was in complete shock. She really believed her own nonsense. Karen, I came here for 2 reasons. First, you can see the kids, without your boyfriends. I'll give you some money for an apartment, but that's it. If you fight the divorce, I'll destroy you. Am I clear? She just stared at me. I saw the tiny spark of hope that I could get her back die. Second, I said, sliding the folder across the table. Look at the dates. They were photos of Jason and his other girlfriend from Saturday night. She pulled them out, and her face went white. But that's from Saturday, she stammered. You were never his true love, Karen. He's just a player. Enjoy the rest of your life. I stood up, threw a 20 on the table for the waitress, and left her sitting there crying.